Alrighty, so we're going to get started here. Thank you all for coming. I'm Ted Bardicke. I'm Executive Director of Clean Power Alliance, the buyer of this, the output of this wonderful project. So, just a little housekeeping. I'm going to both say a few words and then MC and call some other folks up here who were so integral and key to this project. We'll hear from them, and then we've got a couple of photo ops. We've got some ribbon cuttings with various folks who were involved in the project that'll take place out there, and it's really exciting for me because you know, we've been at Clean Power Alliance with Diana Mahmood, who is our board chair, who's here. Big round of applause for Diana. We also have David Fernandez from Goldman Sachs, asset management, who is sort of, he'll talk a little bit about it, but how Goldman Sachs has pooled a bunch of different investors, including some smaller investors, together to make funds that then invest in renewable energy and how they manage that asset. And that's really interesting about how capital is being brought to bear in this transition to a clean energy economy. And then Jason Eshelman, I hope I got that right. Awesome. As someone whose name is routinely mispronounced, I appreciate having gotten it right. Who's from our wonderful labor partners at IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and how important that is for us to have good middle-class, family-sustaining jobs being created by this, because we need to bring everybody along in this transition to a clean energy economy. And this is really, you know, a local example of what's being tried to be done nationally in terms of how we bring everybody along in this clean energy transition. And then finally, Liz Becerra from the Victorville City Council, really our local hosts in this land, in this place, in this wonderful sun that we have, and how good of partners that they've been in also recognizing, you know, what the future is. And so we're really excited to have Liz here and hear from her. So just a little bit of background. We've heard on the tour about this site, but just about Clean Power Alliance. So we are now, after a number of years of startup and real work on the governance, which Diana has you know, led the charge along with Los Angeles County and Rolling Hills Estates, become the 5th largest electricity supplier in the state of California in the last 3 years. And one thing that has happened over that time is because of some really courageous leadership on the part of local elected officials among our 32 member agencies, is that many of them took the step towards starting out and transitioning our customers immediately to 100% renewable energy, which now makes us the single largest provider of 100% renewable energy in the country. Over 300,000 customers on an annual basis get 100% renewable energy from us. And what that does is it brings with it sort of some leadership, but also an incredible amount of responsibility, because as we know, the sun only shines a certain number of hours of the day. The wind only blows at certain times of the day. Hydropower is you know, really dependent on weather. And so taking that real step towards you know, leading the way on 100% renewables, we also have this incredible responsibility to do it reliably and to show how it can be done on a 24/7 basis. And that's what's so exciting about, you know, the 351 modules of energy storage that you see in those trailers that are getting us to a point where we can start to think about how we can not just serve our customers with 100% renewable energy on an annual basis, but on a monthly basis, and eventually a daily basis, and eventually an hourly basis. And of course, that's how we're going to have to, what we're going to have to do. And that's really exciting. This is the first project that we've been able to open that is the combined solar plus storage. We have a number of them coming online over the next 2 to 3 years. And that's just, you know, sort of the beginning. We're building a diverse portfolio of solar plus storage, of wind, of geothermal, of hydro, so that we can really think about how we're going to serve our customers over the long term with this, with these renewable GHG-free resources. This one in particular is exciting because it's built for us. A number of the other projects that we'll be bringing online, that some of the IBEW workers are working on today in bringing online, we've partnered with other off-takers. But this one is just for CP. Every one of those panels, all that battery storage is allocated to our customers. And so at the end of the day, I just want to thank you all for coming, but also thank our customers who have gone through this switch. There was we switched them over. There's not really been a lot of electricity choice in the state of California before, and that was jarred for some. Some didn't notice. Some are really excited. Some were jarred by that switch. But they've stuck with us. We have a participation rate of over 95%. 95% of the customers who switched over stuck. And that, I think, really is a testament to them and their desire from a customer level to have high levels of renewable energy today and into the future. So with that, again, I want to thank you all for coming. And at this point, I'm going to bring up Diana Mahmood. And while she's coming up, just I'll say this later, but why don't Diana, you come up and say a few words, and thank you very much for all of your leadership as we've started this wonderful new entity.
I always have to do this. So I am the board chair of the Clean Power Alliance. I'm in my second term, and it has really been a thrill to be involved with so many dedicated staff as well as electeds. We have a fabulous board. We really haven't had any contentious issues at the board, and it's because we all share the goal of bringing clean, renewable energy to our customers, to our residents, to our businesses. I know Ted mentioned this, but I'm so proud of it. You're going to hear it from me again. And that is, we serve more customers with renewable energy than any other load-serving entity in the entire country. And I really think that is something to be so proud of, and I am. At this point, we had 3 cities that just changed their default energy product this month to 100% renewable energy. The cities of Manhattan Beach, Calabasas, and Agoura Hills are doing so. And that means that 15 of our 32 communities now are serving their customers with the default energy product of 100% renewable energy. And the default energy product is really important. That is the product that you receive unless you do something affirmative as a customer to change. And what we have found is that people don't change. So if city councils make the brave decision to go ahead on behalf of their residents, on behalf of their businesses, to make that decision to go 100% renewable, they are significantly lowering their community's carbon footprint now and obviously going forward in the future. Obviously, we need a lot of renewable energy, and there's so many good reasons to go into renewable energy. Among them, this beautiful site, which really is beautiful. I had spoken to David. He described it as beautiful, and I asked him, What makes it beautiful to you? First of all, it's the size. It's the scale of this. 100 megawatts is really meaningful in the electric utility industry, particularly for renewable energy. But then plus that, you have the really pretty mountains in the background, as well as the international planes that are just adding a little bit of flair to the area. But anyway, because we do anticipate growing, we need renewable energy projects like this. And what in particular sets this apart is the storage. Renewable, we know it's renewable when the sun shines, it's renewable when the wind blows, but we know you can't count on those. And so it's so important for us to be able to provide reliable renewable energy to our communities, and that's exactly what we're able to achieve with this project. I might also mention there are sound financial reasons for us to go into renewable, because there's been a seesaw, whereas renewable continues to decrease in cost, and obviously the fuel cost is free, right? We're seeing volatility now in the thermal energy markets. You know, over in Europe, I just returned from Europe, and they really don't know how much the residents are going to have to pay to heat their homes. And so we've seen significant increases in the cost of thermal energy, not so for renewables. So not only are we doing the right thing by reducing our GHG footprint, but we're also benefiting our customers by reducing ultimately the cost of that energy as we can enter into more renewable energy contracts such as this one. Just a couple of weeks ago, Ted represented CPA at the Hecate Johanna Energy Storage Project in Santa Ana. We're proud of that project, located in, obviously, an urban area, because it brings the energy where it's needed. We are also receiving energy storage from a nearby facility operated by TerraGen. It's the Sanborn facility located in the Mojave Desert. But now we have this facility, 100 megawatts of energy generation plus 50 megawatts of energy storage, which is enough energy to bring power to nearly 47,000 Southern California homes and avoids 72,000 metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions every year. This is obviously something that we can all be very proud of. In addition to all of the social good that I talked about, the good takes another dimension in the form of CPA, through its sponsorship of these projects, being able to provide good paying jobs for the community. And as you will hear from our next speaker, we are succeeding in doing that. And that is something that I think is so important, and I think the future is very bright. Bad pun, I know, but I couldn't help it. I want all of you to look around and to just recognize the importance of what we have accomplished together. I hope you keep our many accomplishments in mind as our world leaders gather together just next month in England, as they hopefully come to a meeting of the minds and will make some meaningful commitments towards reducing GHG for the benefit of all of the residents of planet Earth. We know climate change isn't on the horizon, it's here. And so, on behalf of CPA Board, the members of the Community Advisory Committee, and staff, I want to thank each and every one of you for your ongoing commitment to reducing GHG emissions. And as part of this, I do want to in particular recognize the members of the CPA Board and the Community Advisory Committee that are in attendance today. So we have my colleague, South Pasadena City Council member, Michael Cacchiotti. Michael, will you wave, please? We have Pam O'Connor, who is a board alternate, as well as Joe Suska. If you could please wave. Thank you so much. I believe that's it for our board and alternate committee members. We also have Angus Simmons from our Community Advisory Committee. Angus, if you can please wave. And if I miss anyone, I certainly apologize. Ted will do cleanup for me. But it is indeed my pleasure to welcome you all. Thank you for everything that all of you have done to make this possible.
Thank you, Diana. In the spirit of cleanup, I think we missed one alternate. It's Christine Shen from Malibu. So there she is. And I'll note it's great. All of those folks, the communities that you mentioned, Culver City, where Joe and Christine from Malibu and Pam from Santa Monica, Diana and Michael from South Pasadena are all among the 15 cities now that we have at 100% renewable energy. Next, I'm going to call up David Fernandez from Goldman Sachs, but before I do, there's one other group of folks that I want to recognize, which is the CPA staff. And we have gone from a staff of 1 to now a staff of 40, and I think there's about 20 of them here, which is a great turnout. So if all the CPA staff could stand up and just be recognized. Thank you all. People have joined CPA, took a lot of risk. We're a startup. We didn't know how all this was going to turn out. And that sort of perseverance and dedicated to the mission is shown by our staff each and every day. And I really just, on behalf of myself, but also I know the board, just really appreciate all the long hours and the hard work that has taken to get us to this point. So speaking of long hours and hard work, now Goldman Sachs can come up because I've heard about long hours and hard work. The people who we have a contract with. David, really appreciate all your work, and let's hear what you have to say.
First of all, I really appreciate. Oh, this is not going to stand. I really appreciate that I can talk without a mask. That typically helps for my accent. So hopefully you can follow the conversation. So a lot to thank today. And first of all, I got to say that I'm extremely excited to be here with everybody. Who would have told me that just a few months ago would have been, kind of face-to-face, live, and not behind a screen in the middle of the living room with the kids playing soccer and the wife screaming, and we've been there. We've been there. First of all, I want to, thank Ted and the CPA team, and truly, everybody, of course, contributes to this great outcome. But like I always said, if you don't have an off-taker, in this case CPA, you don't have a project. So I really want to thank for their partnership, their trust in us, and also the wonderful event that they put together. So please join me in a round of applause for CPA. I also want to thank MRP and SEL for partnering with us early on in the process. They've been, again, critical, and it's been a wonderful and a long-lasting, what it was going to be a long-lasting relationship. There's been numerous service providers and equipment providers that I would like to acknowledge. Of course, I cannot do it all, but because there's just a lot of companies, but let me try with a few of them. I would like to acknowledge Sunerton Solve as the EPC contractor on site. They did a fantastic job, and we're really happy that we were partnered with one of the best contractors in the nation, and probably even in the world. Also want to acknowledge Fluence as the battery provider. It's been a great partnership with them. The other companies that I will also like to mention on the equipment providers or the equipment delivery side of it is Canadian Solar as the module manufacturer, Nextracker as the tracker manufacturer, Power Electronics as the inverter manufacturer for the battery side of it, Ingetm as the inverter manufacturer for the PV side of it. So there are two different inverters, one for the PV and one for the battery storage. All of them, were crucial to make this happen. And I cannot forget ICOM, eCorp, PAT Services, and Enertis. They were instrumental in at the beginning with environmental services as well as the construction services that they provide. So I really want to thank their work. But a special thanks goes to the men and women that they were here day in and day out in not so nice conditions as this, very early in the morning until very late at night, and in probably not, for sure, the most challenging construction environment ever imagined. They really delivered, and they delivered under those conditions. Those men and women contribute over 287,000 hours to the project to install 295,344 modules and 231 battery cubes. So I really want to give a big thank and a round of applause for everybody that made that happen. So High Desert represents a cornerstone for GSRP, and for me in particular. I've been involved in many projects. I love to come back home to California, and I love this type of projects that they are very unique and they are kind of a leading edge in the technology, never single front. We talked about the two phases of the modules, what we call bifacial. We talked about battery storage that is not really deployed to date in a meaningful way. So this is definitely represents a cornerstone for us. In particular, this is our first project at GSRP that we own, that we developed it or supported development internally, constructed, and bring it to commercial operations. This is also our first hybrid PV and storage utility scale project in our portfolio. And last but not least, High Desert puts GSRP and everybody here in the storage map worldwide, really, but being one of the top assets of its kind ever deployed. There's going to be many projects like this in the next years, but today, the information that I have is the top 10 in the world of its kind. So definitely, we're really excited, and this is the reason why we feel really honored to be here and being completed. You may wonder who GSRP is. So Goldman Sachs Renewable Power is an investment vehicle that was born in 2017. In 2018, we did the capital raise with the thesis of investing primarily in solar and primarily in the US with a risk-return profile that will be attractive to our clients. So with that, we actually went out to the market to visit most of our clients, and we got really good appetite for this type of investment thesis. And I thought at first, maybe just the returns are good. But to be honest with you, a lot of folks, they just wanted to invest because they want to be good with their constituents and they wanted to get into clean energy, despite what the returns. Of course, you have to clear a certain threshold for the investor community to invest. But it was amazing the kind of the feedback that we got from all our investors. We were thinking that we were going to raise less capital. We ended up at $1.9 billion of equity capital. So that was a great accomplishment, and it talks about how people are conscious about green, about what we're doing here, leaving a better world for our kids. The Today, we're 60% equity deployed, and that represents, as I said before, about 950-ish projects across the 27 states. We continue to be really bullish about the US, about California in particular. 60% of our capacity comes from California. We would like all sorts of solar projects, from large like this one to very small ones on top of a rooftop of a school. We'd like to help the community, and we'd like to deploy green energy as much as we can. Something to note, and I spoke a little bit about it, we're not just a financier. We, as a matter of fact, most of the people, over 95% of the people that are dedicated to GSRP, they come from the industry. They don't come from other parts of Goldman Sachs. And we self-manage and operate these assets from our control rooms, and of course with our service providers and partners that we have across the states. But we're definitely committed to not only invest, but get the most efficient project that we can, and provide the power that we need for our off-takers. With that, I really want to thank everybody for their attendance and for having me here speaking today to you guys. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the event. Thank you.
David spoke about all the hours that were put in here, and I wanted to welcome Jason Eshelman from the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Before he stands up, I just want to let folks know that our partnership with labor is really strong and enduring. All but 2 of our projects, long-term projects to date, are being constructed under project labor agreements, which ensures that the work is high quality and the wages match that. And next month, we'll be bringing to our board some really exciting work on implementation of Clean Power Alliance's own workforce development program, $1 million that we've committed over 4 years to train the workforce of the electric future. And some of that money will be deployed, assuming that our board is interested, in partnership with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and their electric training institutes across Los Angeles and Ventura counties. So it's not just this project. I'm excited to hear about Jason for this project and others that they're working on with us. But this is a long-term partnership with this community that is so important for Southern California and its economic future. So Jason, please join us.
Microphone up a little for obvious reasons. First off, thank you everybody that showed up. This is more than 100 megawatts for the 1,400 members that I represent that live here in the Inland Empire. This project for us represents, it's a single mother for getting health care for her family. It represents a young individual that may have had a hiccup in life and is currently in the correctional facility, and he actually has something to go to, and that's work. It also represents that veteran that's getting out of the military and doesn't have soft skills. He knows how to take orders. Most importantly, it represents the middle class, and a lot of people don't know a project labor agreement. It guarantees that the individuals that live in this community build the projects in this community. And for this project, it meant over 100 of my members were able to go home every day to their family and not sit in traffic. So big thank you to Swinnerton. They're a great partner in this project. I haven't had a project where I didn't have phone calls about issues. It was a smooth running project. They're very professional, and I am looking forward to building a lot more of these. Individuals may say this was a temporary project. It was short-lived, but for a construction worker like myself, every one of our projects are temporary. If I'm on a project for 20, 30 years, I'm probably maintenance and not construction. So a big thank you to everybody for this project, because my members, it really meant a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, and we're just so excited. You know, some of the folks who worked on this project are working just up the road at Daggett, and for another big project that we've got under development right now as a CPA or an off-taker, and we're really happy that you're bringing those folks who need work to bear on this. So as you've seen, you know, a project like this takes lots of land. And a lot of work with local communities. And I'm really pleased to welcome Liz Becerra, a member of the Victorville City Council, who has now, you know, the city is definitely getting behind this kind of development and understanding what it can bring to the local community. And we're you know, everything that I heard down to like putting those signs out on Highway 395 about how good the city has been for this project is just, I haven't heard a bad word. And that means I've heard really good words. So Liz, would you come up and say a few words on behalf of the city? So thank you very much.
Really? There we go. Of course, it had to be my first speech, and it's hit me. Hi, everybody. My name is Liz Becerra, and I'm a city council member for the city of Victorville. Thank you very much for coming, everybody. I'm honored to be a part of today's celebration. We were inspired by tremendous work with Clean Power Alliance and Goldman Sachs and our IPA brothers to reduce greenhouse gases each year. On behalf of the City Council, congratulations to all of you celebrating the opening of your new clean energy facility. Hopefully you're going to expand, yeah? Yeah. It's been a pleasure to work with all of you. I would like to thank our City of Victorville staff that worked diligently with you guys. Hopefully they made it a very pleasurable experience, and like I said, we can expand bigger, more. The project created 200 construction jobs, and we're grateful that a lot of them were local workers. They work local, spend local. So thank you for investment in our city and the broader community, and thank you everybody for being here. Be careful driving home. Thank you. Now you got to put it all the way back up.
So we're going to go out front to do a couple of ribbon cuttings, first with the speakers, and then we'll do one with all the people connected directly to CPA, and then we'll do one with all of the folks who worked on the project. So it'll be, you know, multiple scissors and multiple ribbons. But before we wrap up, I did want to note a couple of folks on the CPA staff who really stepped up to organize this event. It's been a lovely event. Joe Cabral, our external affairs manager, and Carla Vasquez. Where's Carla? Where's your hand, Carla? Yeah. You know, Joe's done this a bunch. Carla's not. I think she learned a lot. And we're looking forward to more of these events in the future because we've got a lot of customers who want a lot of renewable energy, and we got a lot of projects coming forth. So thank you again, everyone, for coming. We'll step outside to do some ribbon cuttings and enjoy. It's Friday. Let's go for the weekend. All right.